Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, welcome. My name is Jenna Villani. I'm the Executive Director of Alumni Relations here at William Patterson University. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's session, Is a Career in Real Estate Right for You? Tonight, you'll have the opportunity to learn about this exciting field from Carmen Dorns, a New Jersey licensed real estate broker and instructor. This webinar will help answer questions on what tools are needed to successfully break into this industry and get your real estate career started. I'd like to just take a quick moment to acknowledge and introduce my colleague, Kate Matthews-Bray, who is the Associate Director of Alumni Relations. She's here with us tonight and helped to make tonight's event happen. So thank you, Kate. We're pleased to provide many ways for you to stay connected to William Patterson and your alumni community. I encourage you to take advantage of the many programs and activities that we offer, such as the virtual book club, social events, lifelong learning opportunities, career development programs, and more. Before we jump into the program, I just want to share some details on how tonight's session will work. So upon entry, your microphones have been muted, and we kindly ask that you please keep your microphone muted during the presentation. We do welcome questions and comments. We want this to be interactive, so please feel free to type your questions into the chat box throughout the session, and we'll take some time to answer those throughout the program and at the end of the session. Please note that today's session is being recorded, and it will be available on demand on our alumni YouTube channel after the session. So with that, let's get started. It's my pleasure to introduce Jasmine Beckford, Assistant Director of Professional Certifications for the School of Continuing and Professional Education here at William Patterson. Jasmine is going to tell you a little bit more about what we'll be covering tonight, and she will also introduce our presenter. So Jasmine, I turn it to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Jenna. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet with you all. I am the Assistant Director of Continuing Professional Education here at William Patterson University. We have certification and training programs that we offer in the areas of business, science, technology, healthcare, and law. But tonight, we're here to talk about real estate. So we have a course offering available coming up with our instructor, Carmen Dorns, who has been at the university for the past year. She came to join us last semester in hopes of bringing real estate course material to our adult learners. Carmen has been in the industry for over 25 years as a real estate agent and also a broker and owner of her own real estate company. So it's a pleasure and an honor to have her join us and be a partner here. Tonight, Carmen will be covering how do I get into real estate. She'll also talk about how you make money in real estate. And then, of course, we got to talk about our program. So at the end of this, we hope that you all will register and join us this upcoming semester to learn more about real estate and how to take the course before becoming a licensed realtor. Carmen, the floor is yours. Guys, sorry, I did forget to mention, we will take breaks in between the categories that we're going over to follow up with your questions. So please be sure to put them in the chat so that Carmen and I can get to them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to discuss the real estate course that William Patterson University will be offering in conjunction with my real estate school, Rigel Realty, Institute of Real Estate. So happy to be with you tonight. Thank you, ladies, for that introduction. As Jasmine mentioned, I have been in the industry for 25 years. Where did that time go? I worked in corporate for many, many years. And I was home with a little one on maternity leave and wanted to try to explore and see where I could make a career shift. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do, to be quite honest. I was happy in my career, but I just wanted to explore and see if there were any other opportunities that I may excel in. And I was sitting home one day and I was flipping through the phone book, the yellow pages. I don't know if everybody remembers. Some of our younger attendees may not. What is that? It's a phone book. But back in the day, we used to have phone books that we looked up people's telephone numbers, and we had yellow pages with different businesses in it. And I happened upon real estate school. And I said, you know, I was always interested in real estate and architecture. It always appealed to me. And they were offering a course for 2 weeks. I could go full time. And I said, you know what? Let me just try it. You know, I don't know what'll happen, but let's see. And I did. Obviously, I took the Salespersons Course, which is what we're offering here at the school. Currently, we're offering a Saturday course for people that are working during the week and have the Saturday available. And we're also going to offer an evening course for people that are working during the day, 3 nights a week. So it's pretty concise. We try to make it as flexible as possible so that people will have the opportunity to take the course. And in addition to that, it's virtual, right? So you don't have to show up somewhere. You don't have to fight traffic to try to get to us. All you do is sit at your computer or your tablet or even your phone, and you can take our course. So that's pretty amazing. Guys, I got my real estate license back in 1997, and I worked as a salesperson. I worked part-time. I didn't jump right in full-time. And a lot of people take that career path, okay? You don't necessarily have to get in full-time. You can work part-time, try to figure out what your niche is gonna be. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the program tonight. But it's a wonderful profession that gives you the flexibility of being able to make your own hours, right? And you work when you want to work and how long, what days, you know, that type of thing. So I wanted the flexibility of that, working full time, being a new mom, all of that. And it's also great. A lot of my students are retirees. They had a career in law enforcement or in the healthcare profession. I mean, you name it. My students, their professions run the gamut. Some of them are already in real estate. They're doing some investing. They're starting to purchase properties. So they wanted to take my course to get more educated concerning real estate, the real estate field in general, and also to get licensed so that they can start buying and selling properties and earning commissions and not always having to pay those commissions and earning them instead. So I did real estate, guys, for probably about 15 years part-time. And then I decided to get serious about it, or more serious about it, I should say. And so I shifted and I was able to, I transitioned. There was a downsizing at the corporation that I was working for. So I was offered a severance package. I took that severance package and decided to work in real estate full time. So that's what I did. And then in 2015, I got my broker's license. I took the same course, but an additional 150 hours, right? So we'll talk about that as well. That's the requirement to become a broker. This particular course is a salesperson. It's a 75-hour course, okay? So 2015, took the course, 150-hour broker course, which I also offer and hope to offer to the school relatively soon. So if you join this course and you pass, you get your real estate license and work 3 years full time, then you would qualify to become a broker. And so you can come back to us and take the broker course, and we can start this whole process over again. So that when I got licensed as a broker, I didn't open my own brokerage right away. I went to work for another broker, which is always an option. If you have your broker's license, that doesn't mean you have to open up your own brokerage. You can always go and work for another broker and manage an office, and do it that way. So I did that in 2015. And then finally in 2018, I got my instructor's license. Through the years, I have grown so much, and I've learned so much and met so many different people. And I think that's why I continue to expand and grow in this industry, because it just keeps evolving. And it's such a wonderful opportunity to help people a lot of times find their first home. It's so rewarding, and it can be a very lucrative career as well. So there are a couple different reasons why I believe I still enjoy real estate. It still inspires me, and I hope that I can enlighten and help you too. If you're kind of on the fence and thinking, is this right for me? Hopefully I can answer any questions that you may have and make you feel like this is a profession that you would be willing to pursue. All right. So there are a few qualifications, everyone, that are required for you to become a licensed real estate agent. Okay. I see some of my slide is, let me just move that over a little bit so that I can see. Okay. So there are a few requirements, as I mentioned. The New Jersey Real Estate Commission requires that you be at least 18 years of age or older, that you have a high school diploma or GED, that you possess good character, trustworthiness, honesty, and integrity. You must complete the 75-hour approved New Jersey real estate pre-licensing course, which is what we're offering here for you tonight. And then you must also pass a state exam with a score of at least 70%. And once you get licensed, you pass the exam, you get licensed. You have to go through a fingerprinting process and background check. And then finally, you will work with a sponsoring broker you register with a sponsoring broker to start your real estate career. Okay, very well. We're going to talk a little bit more tonight too, everyone, about the course that we're going to be offering and what that's going to look like for you. I get a lot of questions about what my routine is daily as I'm going through my work. What do I do? How do I continue to reach out and get business, train agents? What is my blueprint, if you will, as I'm going through my day? When I first started, the best thing I was told to do, suggested to do, was reach out to people that I know. Let everybody know that I'm licensed. Hey, I just got my real estate license. I'm excited. And if you know someone that's looking to purchase a property or to sell a property, please reach out to me. So I started with calls, and I've used this blueprint throughout my career. Started with what we call a sphere of influence, right? So your family, your friends, your dentist, your doctor, when you're in the grocery store, when you're at the gym, when you go to the post office, all your regular routines and people that you know, you form relationships over the years. Sometimes you go in a place and they say, hey, Ms. Torrance, how you doing? You know, so what you do is you hand out your business card. You let people know, hey, I have my real estate license now. If you know someone or if you need any real estate services, please reach out to me. Please let me know. I can tell you that 90%, believe it or not, it sounds like a high number, but 90% of my business is from referrals from people that I've done business with in the past. We had a successful transaction. And so they came back to me and they refer people as well. You know, I worked with Ms. Dorns 2 years ago. She sold me a house. It was a great experience. She helped me get through the process. So here's her card. Here's her contact information. Please give her a call. And I get a lot of people that have said, you know, this person or that person referred me to you. And it's just amazing. It's a really positive feeling to know that people still, after years, they still refer business out to me. So that is very, I treasure that. I treasure those relationships. And I think, guys, that's really what real estate is about. It's about people, right? Helping them reach their real estate goals and helping them achieve their real estate goals. And as real estate agents, that's what we do. You know, it's a privilege to be able to do that. And I don't take that for granted. In my class, I train my students as if they're getting ready to go right out into the world and become real estate agents. And because I have such vast experience, I have the benefit of being able to do that. I'm not just a real estate agent that retired and now I'm teaching. I'm still a transactional broker with an active brokerage, active agents out there doing deals. So I teach, of course, and I love it. But I also have a thriving business. So I can give you the benefit of that experience. Throw a party. Once you get your real estate license, guys, celebrate it. Okay, you're going to do a lot of hard work, and the course is not easy, not simple, but I'm here to get my students through it. And once you're done, throw a party, celebrate yourself, celebrate your achievement, and let people know that you're a real estate agent. Okay, that's a great way to do that, to get your family and friends aware that you've now become licensed as a real estate agent, right? Let's keep going. Networking. Networking is huge. I spend most of my, what I'm going to call downtime, um, researching and networking, reaching out to former colleagues that I've done business with, um, talking with, making sure I stay in contact with people that I've done transactions for, to make sure that they're, still satisfied with what, feedback. Now that we have all of this social media, we can continue, and I'm still quite learning. I'm at that age bracket where I'm still trying to overcome that learning curve with the social media, but I'm getting there. So we can all help each other in that regard. Some of my students that are of a younger generation, that I can lean on them to help me with some of the Facebooks and all these other social media outlets, because it is important to keep your brand, keep your name out there so people know that you're doing real estate. So in our class, we really do become a collective. Once we get going in the course, we form study groups, we support each other, we help each other. So it really is a good experience. Find your niche. That's important as well, because there's so many different avenues that you could take. And I go into it in more detail in my course, but there are specialties. You can specialize. Maybe it's first-time home buyers. Maybe it's seniors. Maybe it's the luxury real estate market, right? So there are a lot of different specializations that you can choose to do and really hone in and focus and find out what works best for you. The other advantage of working with someone like myself, who is actually still a transactional real estate broker and also a teacher, is that you're going to be partnered with an experienced person that's still currently doing real estate, right? So I have my pulse on the market. I can give you a lot of tips on how to navigate a difficult market, which, by the way, folks, we're in a bit of a difficult market right now. I have to tell you. We'll learn a bit, much more about the different types of markets that we have to navigate. But right now we're in what we call a seller's market. And in a seller's market, the inventory is a bit low and the demand is very, very high. So, straight economics, right? High supply, low demand, high supply. We've got an influx of people that have been coming in from New York, moving to New Jersey, and it's been a very high demand for real estate. I think here in New Jersey, the real estate is more affordable than in New York. So someone that's looking for a 2 or 3 family home in New York can probably spend over $1 million or a couple $1,000,000. Whereas in New Jersey, you can get a beautiful, almost new built or new built property for 600,000, 700,000. 500,000 in some cases, if you're willing to do a little work. So there's more opportunity here, and people are taking advantage of that. So the demand has been extremely, extremely high. So there's some tools by which agents have to kind of shift gears and manage a client's expectations. So I teach in my course, I teach a lot of how to do that. Okay. And then finally, I think the best way to be a success in your endeavors in real estate and just in life is to be yourself, be who you are, be accepting of yourself and others, and it will take you far. Any questions thus far? Are we doing questions, comments?
Carmen, we do have a question inquiring about if taking the course through our office help the person be eligible for sitting for the licensing in New York.
That is a great question. There is a waiver that you have to complete in order to do that. And yes, it does make you eligible to take the exam in New York, okay? But you have to complete a waiver. And once you get that approved, then you can sit for the exam in New York. Good question.
We don't have another question, but my question is regarding, you brought up social media. Do you think it has been a great opportunity for people to build out their real estate network? Let's say they don't have a large network, or their network, let's say they're a recent college grad and their network that can't necessarily afford to buy homes yet, but can they leverage social media platforms to build their network out and build out their brand?
Yes, absolutely. There are a number, I mentioned Facebook, but there are a number, Instagram, TikTok, all these
Okay.
different platforms where you can put a video out and reach a number of people. Anybody that's following you, which to me was always an intimidating idea, but that's what social media is about. It's about getting people that you do network with, get them to see your presence on the internet, and then kind of share that with others. And then it kind of has like a snowball effect, right? So you don't have to necessarily know a bunch of people to be able to reach a lot of people when you use those social media platforms. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to see that their network, even if their network isn't necessarily in the position, their family, friends may not be able to assist them, but how they can also continue to think about how they can build their network outside of their nuclear area.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that social media is a great way for people to reach out to you. You do have to put yourself out there, maybe make an introductory video, or you can, if you don't have any listings yet, what you could do is go to an open house. And I teach you a lot of these tricks, or I should say strategies. I should say tricks, strategies in my course. What you could do is try to get yourself started is attend an open house, right? And you can do a video. I'm at this location. I'm getting ready to preview the property, that kind of thing. And then put that up, right? And it will give you the exposure. People will start tagging and following you. And it just kind of grows. It just kind of evolves from there. So yeah, you don't have to have a whole lot right now, but the social media platform is a good way to start building.
And one last question, because you brought that up. Doesn't that help you as a new real estate agent learn more about and build your network externally with other realtors, and also learn more about how to stage a home and be able to sell a home by seeing how other people have done it as well?
Yes, absolutely, Jasmine. That's a great point. As I said, I do teach you a lot of strategies in my course. However, there's nothing like getting out there in the real world and having to try to figure it out, right? So attending an open house, you meet other colleagues, right, that are in the industry, because even if we don't work for the same brokerage, we call each other colleagues. It's very much of a collective, and you'll see that we have all types of memberships that we realtors join, and so on and so forth. So yeah, attend an open house, get the feel of walking through a property, what to look for. You can see how the open house hosts are handling buyers as they're coming in, how they're walking them through the property. And you can mention to them, I just got licensed and I'm trying to, and I'm trying to, get a feel for how this works. And most of them will be happy to share what they do, what they think has made them successful, and so on and so forth, some of the do's and don'ts, right, when you're dealing with the consumer. So yeah, it's an excellent, excellent way to get your feet wet and kind of get out there and see what the industry is all about.
Okay, one last question that I'm going to answer. I can put the link right now in the chat for anyone who's interested in reviewing the registration for the course. And Carmen, that was the last question for now.
All right, very well. So a lot of questions that I get, guys, ask about how much do real estate agents earn? How much money can you really make doing real estate, whether it's part-time, full-time? What's the bottom line? What is my opportunity to maybe supplement my income, and then one day have this be my one wage earning job, right? I want financial freedom. I want to be able to not have to punch a clock, or I'm retired, but I want to supplement my income. So how much money could I make? And guys, it all depends. I mean, there are top four, and I have them listed here on the slide. There are top four factors outside of market conditions, right, that can determine how much you make as a real estate agent. The number one factor is hours worked, okay? How much time you put in. And if you're working part-time, you're probably going to make a little less than somebody working full-time because they're exerting more time to doing real estate. I can tell you though, the one thing about real estate, it's very flexible. So even though you may feel like you're working your full-time job and you're only doing real estate part-time, you're putting in, you're putting in the time that you set aside to do real estate. And guys, once you get in there and start enjoying, what you're doing, talking with clients, talking with other buyers, it's one of those professions, I can honestly tell you, that doesn't feel like work. It really doesn't. You'll get in there on the weekends, you'll be doing open houses or talking to potential clients that want to sell their properties. And it's one of those professions, I can honestly tell you, that won't feel like work, even though it's going to take effort, right? But it doesn't feel like this, this whole drag, it's super, super exciting. Number two is location. It depends on where you're going to be selling real estate. There are luxury properties, there's beachfront properties, right? And then you have our urban areas and our more suburban areas. So depending on where you are going to be selling real estate is going to in large part affect how much your earning potential is, okay? Also, I mentioned previously your niche, right? Are you doing luxury homes? You have more opportunity to make a good amount of money more quickly. Are you doing relocation? Are you doing first-time buyers? First-time buyers tend to have a more, a smaller ticket as far as their purchase power, right? So you may have to do a few more of those. So quantity versus that type of situation. So it's all going to depend. We flesh a lot of this stuff out in my course. So it gives you more detail. And so you can make a more informed decision as to what might be right for you. What's the right fit for you? And then finally, years of experience, guys. When you first get out there, there are going to be some challenges. There's going to be that learning curve and all of that. But if you're a people person and you're not afraid to get out there and just introduce yourself and, be confident, be knowledgeable, you will be surprised how fast your business will grow. Very, very surprised. And once you have a few years under your belt, there'll be no stopping you.
Carmen, we have a good question.
Okay.
What are common, because we're just touching on it, what are common problems that new real estate agents hit while trying to close their first deal? And you and I were talking about this earlier, so I'm excited for you to give them some insight on some of the issues they may face.
Okay. Well, some people may base your ability to get some stuff done by how long you've been doing it, like your experience level. So some new agents may find that they say, oh, once they find out you're new to the business, that they may be a bit hesitant to work with you. And what you could push back on that is tell them not just your real estate experience, but you should also tell them about your life experience, okay? And what you've done prior to real estate, right? You just didn't roll over and become a real estate agent. You had some other experience in life that gives you the fortitude and the knowledge to be a good advocate for them, okay? The other thing, and we talked about this a bit already, is kind of getting your brand out there as a new agent. That can be challenging as well. So use social media, use your sphere of influence, and make sure people, that's the number one thing, make sure people know that you're a real estate agent, okay? A lot of people don't, they get their license and they join a brokerage and there's these, super producers at the brokerage, and it could be a bit intimidating, but don't be discouraged, ask questions, talk to people, connect with someone that can mentor you and help you along.
Well, Carmen, what about towards the end of, as you were telling me today, you were having an issue regarding something closing yesterday and then today question was like closing, at the closing point, like lawyers and mortgage people and what customers can do in terms of how they can mess up the deal as well towards the end of the transaction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So let me give you, this is one of my real life experiences that I'm going through now. And I'm an experienced agent. Okay. Here's what's happening. There are a lot of partners to help us do a transaction. So typically, there's a buyer's agent, there's a seller's agent. Those clients, the buyer and the seller, often have attorneys, right, to represent their interests. So there's that. And then there's also what we call a title company that handles back title and handles everything to get the transaction ready for closing, right? So they have their role as well. And this particular title company did not do what they were supposed to do. And what happens is, guys, a lot of times in these transactions, there are deadlines. Certain things have to be done by a certain time, or else it creates a domino effect, right? If that piece doesn't get done, then it affects the next piece of the transaction and so on and so forth. Well, long story short, the title company was responsible for getting the final mortgage payoff numbers from the seller in this transaction, which, by the way, I'm representing in this one. I'm representing the seller, and I have a buyer's agent on the other side. So we were supposed to close last week, okay? After months with COVID-19, everything gets delayed. So inspections get delayed, appraisals get delayed. Everything is taking a bit longer than it normally would. Okay, we're adjusting. Okay. The title company was supposed to get the final figures last week, and they didn't. And they waited until the last moment. And I think what happened is they assumed that it was going to be an easy thing where they could just make a phone call, get the final figures, and plug them in, and we could close. And that wasn't the case. It turns out this particular mortgage had went to pre-foreclosure during the transaction. So there was another layer. There was another attorney that was now in the transaction that had to provide us with the final figures. And the title company dropped the ball. And so we didn't close, which is very painful after months of work. So that is one of the pitfalls. If someone, and I misunderstood your question, Jasmine, I apologize.
It's okay.
If someone in the transaction does not do what they're supposed to do, as I said, it has a snowball effect. So one of the things, like I said, the advantage with me is I'm constantly doing these transactions, right? And I follow up. I teach my agents. In my course, I teach you, like I said, from day one, I'm going to teach you to hit the ground running and know how to be a real estate agent. And one of the things that I tell them is follow up. Okay. If you don't get an email or a phone call, like in 3 days after a transaction, something's not right. Something's off. So start reaching out to people, make sure the transaction's still flowing, making sure everybody has the information that they need so we can get to the closing table, because that's when we get paid, and only when we get paid is when we get to the closing table.
So just confirming, timing. Everybody has to do their part in an adequate amount of time in order for the deal to get through.
Yes, absolutely. And follow up, communicate. If there's an issue, communicate so it can be resolved right away. Keep the communication open. That's the key.
All right, we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Jessica was inquiring, how would you know what your niche is when first entering real estate?
That is a great question. You have to try a couple different things. You probably won't know right away. You will probably work with a few different types of buyers, okay? And then you'll start to find, as you're out there doing your work, you'll start to find, hey, I'm having an easier time, or I'm connecting better with a certain clientele. So whether it's first-time buyer, whether it's our military, because that's a specialized field as well, finding properties for our military and our service people. There may be, maybe you can jump right into the luxury market. Maybe you have some contacts, you can jump right into the luxury market. I say there's no real way to know for certain, but try a couple different niches and then kind of see where for you it flows a little better, or you feel like it's not It's not like work. You're just kind of flowing, and it's working out. People are coming to you. So yeah, it'll take time. You probably won't know right away.
I would say, just as someone in education, right? I have to piggyback on the idea of just kind of trying a little bit of everything. Not only do I have the luxury of having Carmen, but my mother's also a real estate agent, and there's different pitfalls and different highs and lows in each area. Most certainly say real estate is not for me, guys, but God bless you all.
Thank you.
There is like, when you have it though, when you have the personality type, when you have the network and resources, you'll find your way, and you'll find that it kind of just kind of flows for you easily. Like she said, in terms of building those relationships with having a rotating door first-time home buyers, right? If I am a first-time home buyer and my friend's a first-time home buyer, I'm going to recommend they come to Carmen, and so forth and so on. And it kind of domino effect. I want to also get to you. Agnes was asking, after completing this course and passing the license exam, are you able to sell commercial real estate after this course, or do you need to get additional licensing for commercial? And also, can you transfer your license to a different state?
That's an excellent question. It's two-part. So as far as commercial real estate, yes, you absolutely can sell commercial real estate. In fact, some brokerages have commercial divisions where all they do is sell real estate. It could be a commercial real estate. It could be very, very lucrative business as well. But it is definitely different from residential. Okay, it's like Mars and Venus. But you are licensed. Your license does authorize you, or license you is a better word, to sell commercial real estate. I've done a few commercial deals, went relatively smoothly. I specialize in residential. I'll put that out there. That's really my wheelhouse. It's residential real estate. But yes, you absolutely would be licensed to do commercial real estate. If that's something that you're interested in, I would suggest that you partner with a more experienced commercial real estate broker and kind of learn the business, because it is a bit different than residential. As far as getting licensed in another state, we had a question earlier about someone that wanted to get licensed in New York. It depends on the state. There's something called reciprocity. Some states have it, some states don't. So depending on which state you were trying to get licensed in, we'd have to look that up. But it's a possibility.
All right, Carmen. I would like for you to get through the last slide. I already let David know we're going to get back to his question. And if anyone else has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Okay, so guys, I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of some of the things that you will learn in my course, some of the course content that you will be learning in my course, okay? And I just want to reiterate that the way that I run my course is I'm teaching you as if you're already becoming real estate agents, and I infuse a lot of real life scenarios into my course so that it's more real and it's more relatable, okay? So it's not just textbook learning. You'll have a lot of interactive learning in my course. Some of the topics that you will study in this master class is you will be able to, identify special areas in real estate practice. Do you want to be a residential realtor, commercial realtor, multifamily properties, working with investors, or the luxury market, relocation, and others, okay? So I'll help you decide, or help you kind of gather where you think your comfort level might be, okay? And again, like I said, it's trial and error. You'll probably try a few different niches, but you will find yours eventually. Real estate investment strategies and management. A lot of people, a lot of my students currently are current investors. They're in the real estate field already, and they really want to just take it up a notch and become licensed. A few of my students also have family members that are purchasing properties. They're at that age now where they have grown children and grandchildren even that are looking to invest in property. So they want to be licensed so they can be the facilitator and the catalyst of helping their family build wealth through real estate. You're going to also be able to identify various forms of real property ownership. Am I going to take this property in my individual name? Are we going to do it as a collective, a family, and maybe start a business doing real estate? So there are different avenues in which you will learn that. and also a real estate closing is to be able to, what it's going to take to get you all the way down to the finish line to get to the closing table, because real estate is a commission business, everybody. Okay. And you paid on commission, and we don't get paid until we close the deal. There are some other avenues by which you can get paid, not in sales, but you can do other real estate brokerage services that can help you get paid. And I will go over some of that as well. And then finally, I'm preparing you to get ready to take the state exam. That's the point. So I'm giving you tips and strategies to help you take and pass the state exam so that you can become licensed, because it's just to give you an idea, it's 110 questions. There are various subject matter that is covered. So you have a whole outline. So I go over with you. Remember now, I took 3 state exams, the salesperson, the broker, and the instructor. So I am well versed on the New Jersey State real estate exams. So I also bring that to the table as a benefit for taking my course. I give you a lot of test taking tips and really support you in your goal to become a real estate agent.
Thank you, Carmen.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So guys, we have here the information about when our next courses are starting. I did put the links in the chat, but Kate did inform me that she will send out an email later with my contact information as well as Carmen. And we have, we look forward to the opportunity to follow up with you all. Carmen, we did have one question, which I also tapped on earlier, regarding key team members that you need. You talked about partnering. And so who do you have on your team to help you get to the finish line?
Wow, I have a wealth of people that I use. I'm fortunate in that regard, I guess, because of my years in the business. But you start to create partnerships, guys, right away. People will seek you out. Once you get your real estate license, mortgage brokers and bankers will seek you out, because we're all partners in the business, right? They help our clients get the funding to meet their real estate goals. You also will become partners with appraisers, right? They come in, appraise the property. Also, home inspectors. If you're working a lot with buyers, a home inspection is a critical piece of buying property, buying real estate. So you'll become familiar with a team of good home inspectors that can give your buyers the best experience, and they walk them through the property and give them, how does this work? How does that work? A lot of times they're first timers. As you may be able to tell now, I work with a lot of first timers. I still get a lot of satisfaction out of helping new homeowners find a property. So that's one of my niches. I do have a couple, but that's one for sure. So home inspectors, appraisers, attorneys, gotta love them, need them to protect your client's interests, right? Because we're real estate agents, we're not lawyers. So once you have a contract, it becomes contract law, and we have to hand it off to the attorneys who are licensed to practice law here in New Jersey. We are not. We are real estate brokers. I like to tell people, stay in your lane. You're not an attorney, okay? So there are a wealth of people that you end up partnering with in this industry. It's amazing. That's another reason why I think I enjoy it so much, because I meet so many different people. And every transaction is different. It's so much more than just buying and selling property. There's that human element and that people element that I really get a lot of satisfaction from.
And what, just tell us about the joy of helping especially a first-time home buyer, that human factor, that satisfaction at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like handing off those keys and having them move into that property. They have been renting their entire life. Their family has expanded, right? There's a new baby, maybe somebody got a promotion. Now they actually can afford to buy a home. They have been saving. So it's oftentimes, especially with our first timers, it's been years that they've been saving and trying to get enough money together to get that home. So finally they're in a position, they've paid off some debt. They're in a position now to go ahead and take the leap. And for you to be able to be the catalyst to that, there's no words. I just can't even tell you. And by the same token, somebody who was struggling maybe a while, they're in a property, they were struggling, and they really feel like, you know what, I need to just sell, move on to a new chapter in my life. So to be able to come in and help them relieve that financial burden and get them in a place where they're more comfortable, downsizing into a smaller place where they don't have some of the responsibilities of home ownership, as they've gotten older and retired. So there's a couple different facets that we as real estate agents are able to improve people's lives.
I have another question, Jenna. I don't know how much time we have left, but I do have one other question. David said, how long did you practice as a real estate agent until you decided to switch into the broker side?
I want to say it was probably about, let's see, I got licensed in 97 and I got my broker's license in 2015. So, and math is not my strong suit. Sorry about that.
I think almost 19 years.
Oh, okay, 19, okay.
18 years.
I think I said 15 initially, but okay, yeah, about 19 years, that's quite a bit of time. But it did take me, I had to do real estate full-time 3 years before I became eligible to take the broker's course. So you can count 3 of those years as getting prepared to take the broker's course.
So guys, do we have any more questions for Carmen or myself while you have us here?
We are good on time. We have about another, 10 minutes if folks have other questions. So yes, do feel free to chime in the chat if you have other questions.
Please, yes.
Well, Carmen, I would love for you to kind of talk about what about the aspect of people doing rentals in real estate?
Oh,
I haven't tapped into that one.
Okay. Yeah, always an option. Rentals are amazing because you don't have all of the steps that I mentioned about inspections and appraisals and, the title company and all these other moving parts. Rentals are pretty straightforward. And for the person who, doesn't want to possibly devote the time concerning doing a sale, rental is a great alternative. I'm glad you mentioned this, Jasmine. I just interviewed an agent yesterday and she's working full time. She has a school-aged daughter and she already told me I can only work part-time and I don't have a terrible amount of time, but I'm off 2 days a week. And I want to devote those 2 days for real estate. And I just suggested to her rentals because you go out, you show the leased apartment, and if the person likes what they see and they're comfortable with the terms, whether it's annual, you could do a year lease, you can do biannual leases, which by the way, increases our income. And I'll go into that in more detail. But it's pretty much straightforward. You fill out you have the person fill out an application, right? Because you have to check their credentials, their employment, credit history, that type of thing. Then you present it to the landlord. And if they approve the application, once the person pays their deposit, signs the lease, the landlord signs the lease, boom, you get paid, okay? Generally, it's a month's rent. That's typically what it is. You get a month's rent. And if you're representing the landlord and the tenant, then you would keep that entire month's rent. If you're representing only one party in the transaction, generally that commission would be split with the other agent. But that process, once you identify a property or a lease property for that particular client, it could be a couple weeks and you're done. Whereas if in a sale, it's going to be 30, 45, 60 days easy. Okay. So for those of you who feel like, yeah, I want to get my real estate license, I want to do real estate, but I'm not sure if I have the time to devote to a sale, rentals are a great option for you and a great way to increase or supplement your income.
All right. Kieran has a question regarding what are commissions? I know they vary from brokerage, but I wanted you to give a little bit more insight on that one.
Yes, the commission is what you're paid. So that's what you agreed on with your broker, your sponsoring broker, on how you'll be paid. So typically, and it does differ between brokerages, okay, because there are some other fees, guys, that are associated with doing real estate. It depends on the brokerage. I don't want to name names. I don't want to get into that right tonight. But what I can tell you is that the industry standard right now is either 60-40 split, so 60 to the broker, 40 to the agent, 70-30, right? So 70 to the agent, 30 to the broker, or 80-20, where you're doing a really good amount of volume every year. And so that does depend, guys. It can change. If you come right out of the gate and you're doing a lot of production, or you're doing a higher end real estate and you're putting the numbers in, then you can negotiate your split. But typically it's 60-40, 70-30, and then at the top tier is 80-20. Some of them are even 90-10, okay? So just goals that you could reach. But typically, I'll tell you, in my brokerage, I typically start 70-30. 70 to the agent, 30 to the brokerage.
And Lisa said, can you please clarify again about the difference between agent and broker?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So this course will provide you what we call a salesperson's license. And here in New Jersey, as a salesperson, you are required to work under a licensed broker, okay? So you're not allowed to go out and open your own brokerage right away. You have to be sponsored by a broker. And a broker is someone who has their salesperson's license, has worked at least 3 years full-time as a real estate agent, and then they take the broker course, which is similar to this course that we offer here at the college, but there's an additional 150 hours of study that you will be required to take. As I mentioned, hopefully I can come back to the college and offer that broker course in the future. I'd be happy to do so. Once you complete the course, pass the exam, then you become a broker, and brokers are allowed to either open their own brokerage or they can go work for another broker. But more importantly, they can have salespeople working for them. So that's the difference.
One last thing I want to touch on, because you brought that up, because you don't have to be a broker to have a team of agents working with you.
No, you don't.
Can
you can form a team. Yep, you can form a team, and that's very, very prevalent. Right now, they have what they call a team lead. And then you can have other salespeople working with you as a team. However, and here's the caveat, the broker, you all report and get paid by the broker. Your team leader is not allowed to pay you, okay? The broker is the person that pays you, and the broker is responsible for your activities as a salesperson, okay? Very important.
Any last minute question, guys, before we wrap things up? All right, Jenna, I don't have anything else coming in. If you want to take the floor.
Sure. So thank you again. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to Carmen for taking the time to share your expertise with all of us tonight. And thank you to Jasmine for partnering with our office on tonight's program. Before we close, I do want to share with you an upcoming program that we're planning to host, also on the topic of real estate, on February 16th at 6:30 p.m. The Office of Alumni Relations is going to be hosting a session, this time covering current market trends in real estate. So if this is a topic you're interested in, mark your calendars and look out for an email invitation. And lastly, I'd like to thank you all, our alumni, for taking the time out of your evening to join us tonight. I hope that you found the presentation to be useful and enjoyed the program. And I encourage you to remain connected to William Patterson. So we'll follow up with some of the details and links that were shared tonight via email so that you have them all. And with that, I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.